You keep saying you're burnt out. You repeat it until it sounds like truth. But listen carefully. You're not burnt out. You're avoiding responsibility. Burnout sounds respectable. It sounds earned. It sounds like proof that you tried. Responsibility sounds heavier. So you swap the words. And you feel justified. You tell yourself you're tired. But you're not exhausted from effort. You're exhausted from resistance. From dragging yourself toward things you refuse to fully own. From standing near your life instead of inside it. You wake up already defensive. Before anything even happens, your energy is gone before the day begins. Not because the day is hard, but because you don't want to be accountable for it. You scroll, you distract, you reorganize small things, you delay decisions that would force you to stand behind your choices. You call it self-care, but it's avoidance with better branding. Responsibility demands clarity. Clarity demands honesty. Honesty demands that you admit something uncomfortable, that the life you're living is, in many ways, being maintained by you. That's the part you don't want to face. It's easier to say you're overwhelmed. It's easier to say you need a break. It's easier to believe you're a victim of circumstances. Because victims aren't required to act. They're only required to endure. You tell yourself you'd show up if things were different, if people were better, if timing was right, if motivation arrived first. But responsibility doesn't wait for ideal conditions. It arrives first, and waits to see if you will. You feel pressure, not because too much is asked of you, but because something is being asked at all. Something that would remove your excuses. You don't hate effort, you hate exposure. The moment where you can no longer blame confusion, or lack of energy, or external noise. The moment where it becomes clear whether you will act or retreat. Burnout lets you retreat without admitting fear. Avoidance wears a tired face, and you believe it. You say you're drained. But look closer. You still have energy for distractions, for conversations that go nowhere, for thoughts that loop endlessly, for imagining a version of yourself that never arrives. What you lack is not energy. It's commitment. Commitment makes you visible to yourself. And that visibility is uncomfortable. Responsibility doesn't scream. It sits quietly and waits. It waits while you negotiate with yourself, while you postpone, while you promise soon. Soon becomes later. Later becomes familiar. Familiar becomes permanent. And one day, you call that burnout. You protect your self-image carefully. You want to believe you're capable, but not accountable. Potential feels safe. Execution feels final. As long as nothing is fully owned, nothing can be fully judged, and you stay suspended, not failing, not succeeding, just tired. That tiredness feels real. But it's not from doing too much. It's from carrying unresolved decisions, from holding commitments you never honored, from knowing quietly that you could act and choosing not to. Responsibility threatens the stories you tell yourself, that you're waiting, that you're preparing, that circumstances are temporary. It threatens the illusion that your life is paused. Your life is not paused. It's happening without your permission. And avoiding responsibility doesn't stop that. It just ensures you're not steering. You feel numb sometimes, detached, flat. That's not burnout either. That's the cost of disengagement. When you refuse ownership long enough, your mind stops investing. You think rest will fix it, a break, time away. But rest doesn't resolve avoidance. It just gives you space to continue it more comfortably. You don't need relief. You need alignment. And alignment requires you to accept that some of your discomfort is earned, not inflicted. That realization is quiet. There's no drama in it. Just a slow tightening in the chest. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. You notice how often you explain instead of act. How often you justify instead of decide. How often you describe the problem instead of standing inside the solution. Responsibility removes the luxury of vague intentions. It asks for specifics, specific effort, specific risk, specific consequences. That's why you resist it. Not because you're weak, but because clarity leaves nowhere to hide. You don't need more understanding. You already understand enough. What you lack is willingness. Willingness to accept that your current state is partly chosen. That sentence creates silence. Sit in it. You feel the urge to argue, to list reasons, to explain why this doesn't apply to you. That urge is the habit speaking, the habit of avoiding responsibility by defending identity. You want to be seen as someone who cares, who tries, who would succeed under better conditions, but responsibility doesn't care how you're seen. Only what you do when no one is watching. Burnout is passive. Responsibility is active. One happens to you, the other waits for you. And deep down, you know which one you've been choosing. Not consciously, not maliciously, but consistently. You don't need to punish yourself for it. This isn't about guilt. It's about recognition. The moment you stop calling avoidance exhaustion, something shifts. Not loudly, not instantly. Just a subtle change in posture, a different weight in your decisions. You realize that the heaviness you feel isn't from too much responsibility. It's from carrying the knowledge that you're capable of more than you allow yourself to be accountable for. That knowledge doesn't go away. It waits, patient, unimpressed by your explanations. You can keep calling it burnout. The word will still work. People will still nod. Nothing will challenge you. But the quiet tension will remain, because responsibility, once seen, doesn't disappear. It just stands there, waiting for you to stop looking away.